Yay, the American Civil War is over, and that means everyone is happy, healthy, and gets along. Wrong, wrong, wrong! Oh, not so fast. Even though the war is over, everything is not all pleasant. There was much that was destroyed during the Civil War. Property had been destroyed, people, the government, economy, and families. This is the Reconstruction era, to construct again, to reconstruct the United States. It begins right after the American Civil War in 1865 and goes for about 12 years until 1877. This is the Reconstruction era. Let's look at these aspects one by one. The first one is property. There was massive destruction to property. Now, most of that property destruction was done in the South, as most of the battles of the war were fought in the South, but there was some destruction in the North as well. Let's first look at the capital of the Confederacy, Richmond, Virginia, as it lays in ruins and rubble. Here's the beautiful city of Charleston, South Carolina, again, destroyed. And the hub of the South, Atlanta, in Georgia. People also need to be reconstructed. Over 750,000 Americans were killed in the American Civil War, a lot of death, and those families now are without a lot of their loved ones. Some of those people came back with wounds that were going to last them for a lifetime. The government also needed to be reconstructed. Remember, the southern states seceded from the Union. They broke away, and they now need to be brought back into the Union. Those southern states are going to be part of the United States government once again. And of course, the President of the United States was assassinated. We also see an economy that needs to be rebuilt. Now, in the North, there was not slavery, but remember that the North did rely on the South to produce things to make in their factories, and that the South's economy relied heavily upon slavery and forced labor by an enslaved population. Now that slavery is going to end, the South needs to find a way to continue on with their economy and rebuild without all of this forced labor. And of course, families need to be reconstructed. Now, there was a lot of families that lost loved ones in the war, but let's also think about all of those families who had been separated by slavery, families that had been sold apart and now are free, and many of them are going to try to find their family members once again. What needed to be reconstructed after the Civil War? Property, people, government, economy, and families. And of greatest importance here, we really need to think about during the Reconstruction era, is the roughly 4 million African American lives. Those people that had been enslaved and are now free, thankfully, but these men, women, and children now have to find their own new way in life. They do not have a home, they do not have jobs, an income, many of their families are torn apart, and many of them were illiterate because of the laws that were passed during the United States history. So this is of greatest importance, is what is going to happen to those roughly 4 million African American lives? The essential question we're answering during the Reconstruction era is, to what extent did Reconstruction bring African Americans closer to full citizenship? That's the goal of Reconstruction, continue to bring African Americans closer to full citizenship. Well, first we need to understand, what does it mean to be a citizen? Being a citizen comes with many rights, but among those, the most important is the right to vote. Being able to have a voice in your government is what gives you power. And, of course, the right to be voted for. To have people vote for you so that you can hold public office and you can be in a position of power. We also see in citizenship equal access to government benefits like welfare, unemployment, and healthcare, the ability to hold certain government jobs, the equal protection by the government, and the rights of being a legal resident, which means the country can't just kick you out and make you leave. Now, we know that Abraham Lincoln wanted to bring citizenship to African Americans. We know that because he said so. But with his death and his passing, of course, those goals of his Reconstruction in emancipation would not be seen. This political painting here shows on the left the horrors and dangers of slavery, running away and escaping, being sold and whipped and taken away from family. And Lincoln here in the center, his dreams were of emancipation and liberty and freedom and education for people and the ability to vote and have their own wealth and getting along and working with whites side by side. These are his goals. But of course, with his assassination, all of those dreams died as well. When his vice president swore the oath of office and became president of the United States, We now see the power pass from a Northerner, Lincoln, to a Republican from Tennessee. President Andrew Johnson is going to become the 17th president. And while he was Lincoln's vice president, he was a Southern Republican from a Southern state. And his goal of Reconstruction is very different. Reconstruction begins now!